Hello and welcome to part 7 of this gray paper drawing. So in this part we will be drawing some background mountains to fill up part of this area right here. Alright, so we already drawn the first mountain, the primary mountain, and what we want to do is to create a sense of distance, we want the mountains in the further back to be lighter in color than this one. So let's take the Scholar Series dark brown, or lighter brown basically, and the Scholar Series violet. So first off, using a brown, let's create a few basic shapes of the mountains in the back. One goes down here, and going down a bit here, and maybe a mountain back here. Alright, so first we take the brown, sharpen the brown a bit, and we gently make out the basic shape of each face of the mountain. So the brown will be kind of like the front, the light side, and the violet will be the shadow side. Alright, so we're just lightly shading in. We don't need this area to be too dark since we need these mountains to be darker than this one. So maybe something a bit like that. Now within this face of the mountain, we can create a bit of extra detail, since this is the closest of the background mountains. So maybe right here, what we have is a little dip in the mountain. Let's use a bit of the darker violet, the Premier Series violet. There we go. And mountain goes back up around here. Now, since this area of the mountain is quite light, we want this particular part of this mountain to be darker. That way we can separate the background mountain from the foreground mountain. So we take a bit of the Premier Series dark brown. Actually, this is dark umber, but they're very similar colors. So the difference between dark brown and dark umber is that dark umber is a bit, I guess, less brownish, and it has a lot more gray in it, I suppose. Now we have a bit more violet coming around here. Maybe around here, but maybe on the other side, the mountain curves back up. And by drawing your lines in a certain direction, you can actually create the sense that the mountain is kind of curving up. So once again, we use the white to create a bit of separation. Highlights at the ridge line right here. A bit more of the violet. Maybe there's a little bit here. And we go into this actual shadow area. Use a bit of the dark violet at the crest of the ridge, and then we use lighter violet for the rest. And repeat the same process on the other mountain, or the other small part of this mountain, the other peak. Use white to highlight ridges. Once again, we try to not have solid lines, rather to blend things out. Now maybe once again, this mountain also has a bit of ice. Maybe this is a colder climate, or it's still in spring or early summer. Once again, we use a white for the highlights, and we use a mixture of the cloud blue and some of the various grays in order to achieve the shadows. Of course, keep in mind that anytime you're using the gray, you're using it to darken areas that otherwise be white. You still want to go over the gray white, simply because the gray is such a similar color to what you're currently using. Such a similar color to the paper you're drawing this on. Alright, now let's go back to white for some detail work. Just clean up the edge, and then use a blender pencil. Go horizontally, as that is how the ice flows. And don't be afraid to drag a bit of the mountain color into the ice. I'll continue blending. Always going with the shape of this mountain. Now, we missed a bit of violet here. You can use a bit of violet, since we can imagine this is like a kind of depression right for the flatter area. So let's just blend everything together. Go to the back, we switch our angle to moving to the right, since what we want to do is follow how land flows. Do the same on this side. Alright. Now these mountains aren't completely barren, so we use a bit of the green color and just do a light dusting to the brown areas. Don't put on the ice though. Green ice looks kind of weird. Usually because things that are green don't exist beside ice. The grass will die, and yeah. And you can put a bit on the purple too, but don't put as much on the brown, since logic would say that the area under shadow will have less sunlight and therefore less vegetation than parts of the mountain that are under direct sunlight. Once again, we want to clean this up a little bit using the white. get the edges a bit better. There. Right, now we move on to the next mountain. Use the same dark, I guess lighter dark brown. And the darker dark brown in order to separate this from the other mountain. Blend the two colors together so you don't have a jarring transition. Go smoothly from one color to the next. And then we use the violet. This time we only need the lighter violet color since we are now further away. Use the white to highlight the very edges and the light side, I suppose. Then we go over with a blending pencil. Using a lot of pressure, as usual. Kind of just blend everything together. Now, over here we have another mountain. Now, what I'm thinking is this mountain is really tall, so it's got a lot of ice on it. Since in my mind this mountain is even farther away from us than this one, but it appears to be much higher, which means the mountain itself is much higher. If it's farther away and still bigger, then you know it's big. So I'm just getting a general idea where all the ice is. Now maybe around right here, taking the lighter dark brown. I guess the Scholar series dark brown. We create a little bit of a ridge here where the ice kind of flows around. And we use a bit of the violet in this mountain's ice on the shadow side. Now, drawing most of the ice on the shadow side, since it stands to logic that the ice would, form or stay there longer during the summer months, since there's less sunlight melting it. The reason why most of the ice is on the light side is because most of the dark side is covered up on these mountains. So we can still use a bit of the gray and everything, but what we don't want to use is as much white on the ice on this mountain. Since this mountain is farther away, we want things to look less distinct. So let's take the blender pencil and blend everything out. It's okay if it looks a little bit textured, since it is a mountain. You want a bit of the irregular texture there. And for the rest of the mountain, we use a more pure violet. Don't mix it with white or anything. Just lay it on there. And for the mountain, just a light brown. You don't have to follow your initial layout exactly. This mountain is a bit weirdly shaped. Use a bit of the white to lighten get some highlights on there. And you go back to the blender pencil and you blend things out once more. Alright, and there we have it. We have, in this part, we have now completed a series of background mountains behind the initial one. Now, you may want to add a little bit of blue to the closer mountains, just so that it matches the closer foreground mountains a bit. So add a bit towards the top and near the ridge line. use less and less as the distance grows. Blend out a little bit. Use less as the distance grows before we're not going to use any blue on this mountain since it's so far away. Alright, and that concludes part 7 of this gray paper drawing series. In part 8, we will be drawing the sky. So until next time, goodbye. Thank you for watching.